Okay, now check and see if we're live.
Yep.
We are live? Okay. So let me, I'm going to mute us real quick, leave that on. Let me go grab a cup of coffee. Good morning, and good morning. What's happening, Carlos?
Oh, living the dream.
Living the dream and getting paid for it. How about that?
That's right.
Let's get us in the show here. I left a view of the beach in our purview here, so I can
always
remember
beautiful,
how
always beautiful. I can always look at a beach.
Yep. I know how good it looked. So last week I was had the pleasure of being in Panama City Beach, and we had aspirations of doing Follow-Up Friday from the beach.
Oh yeah.
One of the sessions that were there was a lot of very interesting sessions, but one of the sessions started right at 9 o'clock, and I really wanted to attend that, and so I thought, let's just reschedule it. So unfortunately, we had to miss it and push episode 43 to this week, but it was I think it was well worth it. It was well worth it.
Out of 43 of them,
43 of them. Isn't that crazy?
Out of 43 of them, we only missed one. Come on.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. I guess
the last time you were at the beach, we did it. It was a little tough, but we did it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. It was a little challenging, a little choppy and stuff like that. I think it was raining at one point in time, but it was good stuff. We made it. We made it through, and so 43 of them, buddy. How's things been with you? How's your week been?
It's been good. I been just plugging away. Work, hustling, trying to connect with people. I got a lot of homework to do myself, so I've been doing homework. I've been researching. Always learning. I'm learning about land. I'm learning about development. We're going to be developing some land and doing some real estate that way, developing some commercial and residential. So we're excited. Wow. Always learning. So this week was a learning session for me.
So there were some really good things, and I thought one of the things we would talk a little bit about this week was just going over some ideas that I took away from a follow-up standpoint, and just some of the things that were discussed at the conference. So every year, just for our audience, every year we have a what's called Teach at the Beach. Tameka Bryant. Tameka Bryant at the Real Estate House has I would call it a convention. It's fantastic. It's the information and the content about building wealth through real estate and multiple venues and opportunities to build wealth, strategies, tactics, professional development, you name it. She brings in some of the best speakers, financing. I had the opportunity and the pleasure to to present there as well for a couple of years. I didn't present this year. Really got a chance to. Hey, Tameka Bryant is online. She should join us. Tameka, you should join us. You should join us. You should come back.
Join us.
Yes. Tameka Bryant, you should join us. If you're available and you can pop online, I can send you the StreamYard link. I'm going to send it to her just because. And that way, if she wants to join, she can join us. But Tameka Bryant is with the Real Estate House and hosts that convention, Teach the Beach, every year. And it's just phenomenal. I mean, I tell you what, it's funny. I had to leave and go get my car. So my van had some axle issues when I got to the beach. I made it to the beach, thank God. But when I got there, as soon as I pulled into town, the axles went bad. And
really?
So I had to go get my car at the shop, and I was walking out of one of the sessions that was coming up, and Dr. Tameka Bryant said, "Steve, you really should stick around. This is a good session." Well, the session was on follow-up strategies, lead generation. And she was so funny because she didn't even tell me what it was. She's like, this is going to be a good one. You should really stick around. This is going to be a good one. Generating leads and man, that was a great session. It was a great session. So
Let's hear about it.
I'm going to send her. I will. I'm going to send her a link to see if she wants to join us. But that session was phenomenal. So there are a lot of things that we discuss every week, and maybe we can also have that young lady on and join us. But there's a lot of things that we discuss week in and week out that she covered. But then there was a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, she really, really, really had taken the time to build a very comprehensive lead generation, low cost. It's everything we talk about, approach to generating leads. I mean, to sending, note cards, sending 2 note cards a day, and, obviously making telephone calls, prospecting. It was just amazing how much she has put into her strategy of generating leads and building extra business. And I'm telling you, it was amazing. She was fabulous. We really should try to see if we can get her on there. One of the things she also talked about was hosting like home buyer events. And this was something that was really interesting to me because, I'm a lender, and it really was from the centric view of a realtor hosting home buyer events. When you have an event, you don't really have to go out and chase buyers. If you host home buyer events, the buyers will come to you, right? So host home buyer events, build a Facebook group, invite them, to Facebook groups. If you're going to be moving to a certain area, like I'm looking at moving to South Carolina, moving to South Carolina, moving to Myrtle Beach, Facebook groups. Just some real innovative and creative ways of just building leads. I mean, it was phenomenal. To me, I'm so glad that Dr. Tameka Bryant stopped me on my way out the door because I didn't realize what she was getting into. I mean, I saw the subtitle of it and I thought, I got to go get my car. And I'm just so glad I turned around and sat back down. It was good stuff. It was good stuff.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. Who all attended this event?
Man, there was a room full of people. I mean,
what type of business professionals?
Realtors, investors, lenders, commercial lenders. That was the audience. Primarily, and people from all over. I mean, all over. Reba. That's where I met Reba. Reba that joins us occasionally on this.
From California.
Yes, Reba from California. Yes, absolutely. it was from all over though. This year it was even bigger, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And there was young ladies from Oklahoma that I had the opportunity to meet, Florida, of course, California. I've met people from Texas, and so it just keeps growing. And it was just it was huge. It was huge, and it was very well done, very well put on. I like the fact that there was so many different. It was a good variety of topics, from commercial financing options. You're looking at doing commercial real estate, stuff like that. So some good people that, Dr. Tameka Bryant has Micah Capital as well, which does commercial financing. But then she also brought on some other, vendors across the country that also presented and went through multifamily versus, commercial, and it was fantastic. So every year there's different topics, and all of them are things that you can walk right away from and put into action right away, immediately.
My goodness,
yeah, it was good stuff.
Awesome. And you got to meet all kinds of people, network all from people all over the country.
Yeah, so Tameka always says, listen, if you walk out of here and you don't form any relationships, then that's on you, because there's people from all walks of businesses and the real estate and development and banking, community. And I met a couple commercial lenders. I'm a commercial lender, but my commercial financing is not really even active right now due to COVID. And I'm also an investor. So it was good to meet some people that do some creative commercial financing. Because you and I both know I'm very creative residentially, but I'm not as creative commercially because I don't do as many deals. So it was good to really connect. Right. Some of those people were local. Some of those people were in Maryland, and I'm licensed in Virginia, Maryland. So it was really good to connect and meet with some of those people. So yep. So what I got to do now, from a follow-up perspective. Oh yeah,
there she is.
Dr. Bryant is here. Yeah.
Hey,
Dr. Bryant, what's happening?
Woo, how's it going? It's Friday.
It's Friday, baby.
How you doing? Let me stop my phone.
Gosh. This is, after Teach at the Beach, I need a break.
You need a break. Yes. So we were talking a little bit about it, and I told Carlos that thing was huge. Let me somebody's trying to call me, guys. Hold on one second. Let me turn off my Hangouts. I was telling Carlos, he was like, well, who was all there? I'm like, man, there was so many people there. Can you talk a little bit about the Teach at the Beach? And I mean, I was impressed, Doc. I mean, how many people showed up? Because I couldn't even count. There was so many people in there.
Well, when we first started Teach at the Beach, it was never intended to be a mega conference or anything like that. We always wanted to have, small group workshops so that people could really get, networking done and really dig into material, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first one we had about 12 or so, 14 people. The second one, we got up to about 30. And I remember Jeff, my husband, saying, you're going to have to double this conference every year. And I'm like, no, I don't want to double a conference every year. I don't want a major conference. I want people to get in and truly be able to network and build wealth and take their time and learning and all those kind of things. And so this year, because of COVID, what we did is, so last year we had 30, Steve. This year we said, okay, well, I'm going to max this out at 60 people. Okay, COVID hit. And when we opened up registration, we were sold out in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I was like, well, with COVID and everything going on, I'm going to make sure people have a full, if they want to get their full money back, if they can't make it,
right.
I want to do that. And so we opened that up and we said, okay, you guys can get your money back if you can't come. And 10 people left. And then next thing I knew, 10 more people registered. Then we had the list. And then people were like, we want to come online. So this is the first year we also offered the online option. And that's why you saw the camera crews in the back.
That's right.
Good. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was multicast. That's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, so we had that going on Friday. There were another 50 people online. So this year, 50 people online, 60 people in class. And we capped it at 60, just the hotel we chose and that kind of thing. We weren't really, I'm not one who just wants to expand. If people don't walk away with some nuggets to kind of get right into business and start making money and changing their lives, then I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Quality over quantity.
All the time. If we can't do that, then I'm not interested. So
I've walked out of that conference 2 years now, and I'm sure the third will come, but 2 years now, and watched some people, including myself, implement and grow. And it's been amazing. And I told Sean McLean, I said, Sean, you have to come to this because I've seen at least one person. Now there's more, just one that I saw each year add something to their portfolio, add something to what they did, grow in areas. And I was like, it's amazing. The information that you get out here, if you walk out of here and you implement just one thing, you're going to grow easily. Right. It's amazing to see that.
And so, and like you said, when we did the masterminds, that's when we normally find out at the Wine and Mastermind exactly what people have done over the last year. And so someone like Jana, I don't know if you've seen her, she's been going, she's been getting at it. So she increased her income of about $600,000 over, within that 7 months. And so much that comes out of that for people. And
open up a brokerage, right? She opened up a brokerage, right?
A brokerage, yep. And I think they just get an opportunity to sit still for a minute. I always say, let the ocean heal them.
Perfect.
September is a great time to do that because you can kind of slow it just enough to then start planning your goals for 2021. It's like people wait until December to start that. And why start in December when you can get going in September and make the connections you need to make at the conference? And if you noticed, all of our speakers, we had a mix, but all of our speakers are around. They're approachable. They spend time with answering any of your questions during the class. And then after, you might walk by them on the beach and they'll, start talking not with you. So
yeah. I was in the hot tub talking with one of the young ladies from Oklahoma. Yeah. And she was talking about a challenge she was having with trying to buy a house and I was like, well, won't you just tell your lender to do this, and that? And she's like, well, I didn't know you can do that. And she's like, well, God, I'm so glad I had this hot tub discussion with you. She goes, if I don't get nothing else, I got that. I'm like, well, hey, listen, whatever you get, as long as you get something, hey, it's worth it. Right.
Well, one of the ladies out of DC says, when she's walking by, she says, that's Steve. Do you see how he works? Like he was, going into workshops, and then he's coming out and he's engaged with his clients. She was like, he's got my business and I don't even know what he does. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, Steve, he normally presents, but not this year. Squeeze in some other folks this year. So very interesting.
It was phenomenal. I mean, from the first speaker who came up talking about the short-term versus long-term rentals to the last speaker. I mean, I tweeted out and posted out, I've already got my mind blown and I'm only 15, 20 minutes into the first presentation on day one. I mean, she was phenomenal. And what a timely presentation for me, because I'm trying to get into doing short-term rentals. And so that was just phenomenal. So I know you thought, Steve, you just worked the whole time, but I took in a lot of information.
No. You had the number one, professional in vacation rentals, Erica Muller. And so she created Verolio and all those kinds of things. And, and then you get someone like her and you get someone like Marky Lemons, who's a social media giant that gets there and stuff like that. And yeah, I expected that from you guys. I mean, every year I have to get better. I have to get stronger. I have to bring, better presenters. I have to bring better quality content and all those kind of things, just to make sure that we're on point. Because as you guys are coming, you guys are leveling up also. Mm-hmm. If it's the material you can get in your own hometown, then why come? It's more than just the beach.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And one of the things that I was telling Carlos before you joined us was when you stopped me on my way out the door and you're like, hold on, you might want to go back in there for this.
That's right. Like, I've been watching you. And so since the first time we had the conversation about Facebook, I don't know if you remember that. And I'm like, Steve, you're so I knew that presentation was what you needed.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you want to go because that one isn't taped. So this is the one you really want to attend.
That's one I was telling Carlos, we really need to see if we can get her online with us one time. I definitely want to spend some time with her because a lot of the things that we talk about, she covered. But I would say we only talked about maybe 50% of the stuff she covered. I mean, she was so comprehensive with her strategies and plans. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah. I'm glad Doc's turned me around on this one. I mean, because I learned a lot. And we talk about this every week, Carlos. And she was like, she doubled her content, doubled what we talk about.
Right. And that's that's one of the presenters who I was supposed to be on tour with this year. Mm-hmm. And got out, we did one city, supposed to do a 30-city tour. We did one city and then COVID hit. Because the premise behind it is she shows you how to get the leads, make the money, and then I show you how to invest.
Right.
So this year, that's why we focus more on developments and how people can get into being a developer. That was on that agenda as well, which is why we had the developer Smart City, who's developing smart cities all over the country. And I wanted to connect agents to not just chasing the leads, but being, providing your own inventory. Like if you're at the next level, it's time to move. Yep. So that's what this is all about. How do you do that? And that's why Terrell did his presentation on Development 101 was there and how you do that. And then I had them, a master developer come in and talk about a smart city and how you do that. And so, just different, not stuff that you'll see in some of the other conferences, which is why I like doing what I do. If folks, I know we're not going to ever be at 400 or 500 people. That's not our concept. So I always tell folks they have to register early or you miss it.
I'm glad you reached out to me because Carlos, I was like, going to slide in under the last minute. Doc was like, there's only like 5 slots left. If you're getting in, you better get in.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, Steve, don't wait till the last minute. You're going to be on the waiting list. I'm like, this is like 5 people left.
I'm disappointed in myself. I think I missed something I really needed to be at this week. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I mean, that's where I'm at, right? That's what I did this week, and that's what I've been doing for the last few weeks. And I'm learning, and I have a ton more to learn. I want to learn it all, and I got to learn it fast. And this sounds like a place that I probably would have leveled up a little bit and learned a lot more than what I'm at right now.
Yeah, it is, Carlos, as you said, a lot of people don't a lot of people don't stop long enough to slow down, figure out what they got to do, then study. Folks don't want to study. They want to skip that part. It's like, you got to study. You got to, dig in deep. You got to understand what's out there. What do you have to do? And then if you could get a shorter route to that or a blueprint to that, or talk to people who are already doing it, then that kind of puts you at the front of the line.
Yeah, that's the way I work. I got to keep plugging away doing business, but I always got to be learning. I got to educate. I got to learn more and more in order to better myself, Right. But education is a big part, and I have to. That's what I've done since I've been 18 years old. I've just learn from other people. And I listen and I soak it up and I learn and I execute it, So I'm at that level where I need to do what I need to do. And that this sounded like exactly where I needed to be. So I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not showing up to that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Well, I tell you, Carlos, I've jumped into the rental income business and stuff like that. And you see on Facebook, and a lot of that stuff is Dr. Bryant. I called her earlier this year, I think it was, to say, oh my God, thank you for, I don't know, it's been at least 3 years where she was like, Steve, you need to get on Facebook. Steve, you need to get on Facebook. Steve, you need to get on Facebook. And I just called her to thank her. I was like, God, I'm so glad that you kept pushing me to get on Facebook, because, it seems like every day I go on my messenger and I have someone reaching out off of, just off of being now on Facebook. And so I'm starting to understand and see why she was like, you ain't on Facebook? You need to get on Facebook. And Carlos, she wouldn't even give me a referral unless it was on Facebook. She's like, you better get in that message.
See, that's the thing.
That's where everyone is. I'm
with the technology, that's what exactly it. With the technology these days, okay, you got text messaging, you got your phone, but I don't know phone numbers still. How many people I know and I don't know phone numbers? Guess what's easier? It's easier for me to, if I can tag you, that's why, Stephen, I tag you, I can text you.
Yeah.
Right.
I can call you. I can have the person call you, but why not tag you or message you or send you it through Facebook? It's fast. It's quick and easy, and you got to be quick with it,
Yeah.
And you're going to get referrals. I do it through social media. If you're not connected with me on social media, it's tough. I've tried to tag people, or I've tried to, somebody asked for a house cleaner. I got a house cleaner doing a house of mine right now, and somebody asked for a house cleaner, but I could not find him on the internet. I couldn't find him on Facebook. And then I didn't do it any other way either. So am I missing out on giving some referrals? But man, if you're not on Facebook or social media or, some kind of something that I can make it quick and easy for me to refer you, it's going to be tough.
That's right. Absolutely correct.
She was like, Steve, did you get that referral I sent you? And I was like, I don't have any email or text. She's like, it's on your messenger. So I've become conditioned to check Messenger as much, if not more, than email, because people are popping in there. It's amazing how it just pops in. It's like, well, how did you even hear about me? So I'm glad you did that. But, just by being in the environment of Teach at the Beach, just by being in the environment and talking to other people who are in the real estate business, investors, developers, it just opened my mind to the opportunities. And, so I walked in there with, very little rental experience. 2 or 3 years later, up to 50 some units of rental experience, looking and thinking about the land development now and certain development things Terrell presented on, the short-term rentals now, getting ready to jump in that when I, buy my primary residence. I'm going to jump into that. So, boy, the content that's presented, I walk into everything with an open mind. And, just allow it to flow in, and just by being in the environment. Doc, is there something to be said by being there, right?
Yeah, there is a lot to be said about being there, because the minute you come into, it's something magical about that particular beach, is what I always tell people. I've been to lots of beaches and stuff like that, but white sand that's supposed to be from the Appalachian Mountains is why it's so soft, and the waters and the teal waters and the Emerald Coast and all that kind of stuff that goes in there. You add that into the people who are in that circle. The folks who are coming to that conference they're either coming from my circle, which is normally investors and real estate professionals who are looking to build wealth. And then other people, it's about that circle of influence. And so when you have developers and real estate professionals and everyone who is there saying, hey, I'm ready to take this to the next level, they come in with that attitude, with that space, as an open book, saying, hey, I don't know everything, but let me learn more about these other things that I didn't know about. So then they start moving in that kind of space from day one. So from the day that they sit down and get their registration materials, or as you notice this year, we had to have registration materials with name badges. Carlos, that's normally not what we do, but this year we had to because of COVID, and we're all having like a map. So it's like, this is my name. is my name. And then it's one of those things, if I know, and that's why I like to keep it small, because if I know, Steve, that you are a lender and this is what you do, and I know your niche, and I know there are people who are coming to conference that need that, then I'm making that connection there.
That's right.
Intentionally.
That's
And
right.
so that makes a lot of difference for people, that now they don't have to run all over a conference and go to expo booths and things like that to find what they need. And they're sitting next to other people who are looking at, how do I grow my family's wealth? Because that's what's important here. You know, we can work a job, but we have to always keep that other part in the back of our brain. It's like, I got to grow my family wealth. And I remember when you came to the first conference and you were like, I need to get in real estate. I need a real estate license. I said, no, you don't need a real estate license, Steve. You just need to buy more real estate.
You sure did. Hey, Carlos, last year, Willis had sent a message in Messenger with me and Dr. Bryant about he was going to focus on at some point in time on getting his Florida real estate license. So I replied back. I was like, yeah, send me the information. And Dr. Bryant was like, Steve, hold on. What is your objective here?
I'm like, you just need to get more real estate. You don't need to have a license. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, you know, because I'm a real big, you know, I get crazy, Carlos, if people aren't settled in on their niche. They try to do too many things, and I'm going to work this, and I'm going to be a loan officer, and I'm going to be a real estate agent, and I'm going to do all this thing. Then you're not going to, the bag is not going to chase you when you're doing that. You need the bag to chase you. So that means you have to know your stuff, whatever your stuff is from top to bottom, so people can find you. People will find you, you know, at a whole nother level, you know, and that allows you to create products and trainings and do shows and stuff like that. But if you're all over the place, and I'm like, the worst thing some people could have done is went and gotten a real estate license just to invest. One of the worst things they could have done.
That's a good point, and I'm glad you stopped me.
Well, and it's because there are more people who are telling folks, go to real estate school so that you can stay within the system that feeds the bigger system.
Right.
You know, and but a lot of folks don't slow down long enough to say, hey, you want to invest? Let me connect you to the best real estate professional that knows investors, so that now you can have access to RPR, you can do these particular things, all those kind of things to help you do that, not have to be bogged down with CE and and then be in a space where more than 80% of real estate agents don't even invest in real estate. Yeah. So it's not like you go into conferences. Real estate conferences are not focused on the real estate investor. You know, they're focused on pretty much showing you how to do transactional business. And so that's the, you know, piece. It's like, oh gosh, if we could slow folks down long enough and show them, let's see if you really, really need a license. Not everybody does.
Yeah, I think that's go ahead, Carlos. Sorry.
No, I mean, you're right. I did that, what you said not to do. You know, I got my license to learn about real estate, but I did it because I wanted to learn and not any other reason, but I wanted to learn to invest. I wanted to learn about real estate. I wanted to learn everything about real estate, selling, buying, dealing with people. It's everything. I needed to learn the whole ball of wax. So yeah, I got my license not, to just be a real estate agent. It was more investing. It's my retirement. So, but I also did it because that's just the way I am. Is I want to learn. Right. And me diving into being an agent give me an opportunity to earn some money while I do it and learn. It gives me an opportunity to earn money while I'm learning. But I totally agree with you got to get your focus. And my focus is investing, and my focus is learning real estate. And I have my license. Yeah, I do earn some money. Yeah, but and I help out the people that I know. But I'm not an agent that sits here and and does business like a real estate agent. It should. But I'm learning the investment, the commercial part of it. I mean, I have a whole bunch to learn, and it just gave me an opportunity to earn some income while I'm learning.
Right. And you'll never stop learning when you're in real estate. It just never ends. You start learning about open listings and what contracts not to use and why your state is using this and why you're doing that. And, that's the one reason of, staying as an instructor for NAR, just so that I can stay up on what else is out there. There's always something else. It's like, oh, can you teach the green certification? Okay, let me go get that. Can you teach ePro? Can you, do this for us, do that? You will never stop learning in the industry, ever.
Yeah, and laws. I mean, the thing is part of the real estate agent, part of being an agent, you learn some laws about it too, But even me going through that school, I didn't learn enough. Like today, as soon as we get off this call, I have to call the government, the city, and I got a call to find out laws and information, just basic laws, I have a client that wants a butcher, and I need to figure out where you need to be and where we can put land at, so where I need to look for it.
Right.
So I always got learning to do.
Yeah, and that's why getting to those networked or those particular conferences that kind of feed whatever your niche is so important, because it never ends. It's like right now, I'm going to skip the line because I'm going to go hang with Joe on this hotel stuff, because I don't have time to go into a class and learn all about hotel development. I can go in and I can learn a little bit, but then it's like, whew, I still have to practice and get out there. It just never ends,
And see, I learn right now. It's like this week, like I've been learning this week, but it was a lot of work for me to learn. But I bet you anything, if I would have went to your conference, I would have learned a lot more from other people or at those conferences than I did what I did this week. Because that's the way I learn. I mean, I could go to a conference like yours and I could learn a ton and implement it. Right. That's how I need major learning. I learn on my own, and it's never enough.
Right.
I would love to go to a conference because I learned more. And, and it's like going to a conference or going to a network. That's why I always promote networking, because when you want to meet more people and you want to do more business, you go to a networking event where there's 100 people that you can meet at one time than walking door to door or business to business, or house to house, or, and trying to meet individual people. You can go to a networking event and meet 100 people, just like you can go to a conference like yours and learn a lot more information.
Right. That's what's key. The takeaways are that you have those people, in your network who are presenting, so you can call them up and say, hey, when you got to number slide 4, I kind of missed that point. Can you, do you have time? And what was good this year is that we also had, developers coming in from different states. So you had KC developers there, you had Florida developers who were there. So just talking from a different, space and they were talking about different products too. Whereas, Tarot has a handle on, some stuff that's going on in KC and multifamily units and tax credits and that kind of stuff. And then this developer is actually a manufacturer of his own products. So that just takes it to a whole nother, and it helps you see, hey, I don't have a box. I can kind of get out of this and kind of create my own and sit at the beach and then kind of dream about what that needs to look like and then really turn that into a plan of action.
Well, isn't that what Terrell did, right? He came in under the real estate umbrella and found his niche in development, right?
That's right. That's right. Terrell came I used to have this meeting of the minds at the house. And, they came over and we talk and he's like, hey, I just want to be a developer. I'm like, oh, okay. And made a couple of calls and I was like, okay, you're gonna have to focus over here for a period of time. And before I knew it, he had left the company he was with, started on a development team and has been doing that for a while. And then he came back and placed his license with the real estate house after that. And so on our team right now, and I don't know if you know this, Steve, there are 3 different sets of developers.
No, I didn't know that. Wow.
In our office. Yeah.
Wow.
And so they all are on different projects, actually 4. They're all on different projects, and they all started out, only one started out as a developer and came on the team. Everybody else was a real estate agent and then went into development. So, again, when you find your niche, I'm always the one pushing you to, okay, go study it. And, you got to buckle down, you got to study it, and then you have to dominate the market.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's awesome. I mean, and I know you talk a lot about, be niched, and it was really fascinating to hear people, mention that. And at this year's conference, I've known about that's your brand that you've had for a while. Mm-hmm. But it was really fascinating to hear people come in talking about more centric about getting a niche, finding your niche. And you've really worked long and hard to really express that importance to people. You want to talk a little bit about Be Niched?
Oh, Be Niched was something I started a long time ago, Steve, and I have to go back and look at what year it was. But one thing I always knew when I got into, I came from an investor, then I got my real estate license. And when I moved into Kansas City market, and I'm from New York, and I went from New York, grew up in the Bronx, and went from the Bronx to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Kansas City. And when I showed up in Kansas City, and background was in nonprofit management. And the one thing I knew starting the real estate company was that I needed to be different. I did not see enough space in the market where there were 10,000 agents, and I was just going to show up and do the same thing they were doing. So I knew I needed people to bring me business. And so I just always said, as a business major, if you have a niche, if you're in, we call that blue water strategy, you don't have any competition. But if when you niche yourself and you are the go-to person in that particular space, then business comes to you. And that was the basis of doing it. And then I kept hearing people saying, oh, you got to get niched. Then I came up with Be Niched, Blueprint You. Because once you niche yourself and you blueprint what you do, guys, I'm talking about selling it, or, the next level of it is you can create products, you can create trainings, you can create podcasts. It takes your whole brand to a whole nother level when it's niched, when it's a blueprint of you. And so many people just kept asking me, like, well, how do you know that, how do you know about down payment assistance, or how do you know about all these niches? And I used to train for NAREB and NAR at the same time. And I would go around and I'd say, I just know because I've been doing them. And they said, you should put it in a book. And then that's how I created the book, 99 Ways to Make Money in Real Estate, Finding the Niche That Pays. And so Be Niche and the, niche book and all those kind of things just kind of started to flourish. And I just keep telling folks. And that's why so many people are stir crazy in their businesses, because they're trying to do too much. You can't go into multiple streams of income until you master one. So can you, it's like, oh, I want to do this. It's one thing. It's different if you're just learning information. But then when you start trying to put all of those things into practice at the same time, it normally doesn't work that way, because then you'll be doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then you're not the expert at anything. You want to be in a space where you're the expert, because then that's how the bag chases you. So in everything that I do, even in the office, I know I get on their nerves, because I'm like, okay, what are you going to be niched in? Because if I'm in business development and I'm meeting people all day long, I need to be able to say, I'm going to send this business to you. But if I don't know what you do, then I can't. It's like, what do you do? Well, one day I'm selling nail polish. The next day I'm selling eyelashes. And the next day I'm selling real estate. And I'm like, well, I don't really know what you do well, so I can't send you anything.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. There's a lot of real estate agents that I see and hear on a regular basis. You know, real estate is, you think real estate agent is, I help buyers and I help sellers and, you know, I help do commercial or whatever, but really and you got to break it down in that real estate business.
Exactly.
You know, you got to break that down and just be a buyer's agent. And people don't understand that. People look at it like, well, I want to help listings too. No, you got to get good at what you do. You know, it's a lot of work. Me as I own multiple businesses, but me coming into it as a real estate agent, I know that I work with more buyers than I do listings because that's what I need to do. I need to learn that first.
Right.
You know, and then the other stuff will come, but people don't realize that you have to break down your business too as well.
Right.
You know,
people don't stop long enough to even match it to their skill sets, Carlos. So I meet a lot of real estate agents and I'm like, you're better suited for a transaction, coordinator. You kick butt as a transaction coordinator and you wouldn't really have to go out and deal with the buyers and sellers that you don't want to deal with anyway. It's okay. There are lots of us who need transaction coordinators, right? And we would pay you to take the process from beginning to end and take that time of us doing it away. Or, agents that focus on, let's say buyers who are police officers or firefighters or whoever it is. There's so much that when you dig into a particular area within selling or buying, there's enough business. Like, I tell people all the time, when I do down payment assistance, when that was my focus for a long time, I could get 100 leads a day on down payment assistance because I knew where every program was in the state. I knew that there were 77 programs in Missouri and Kansas, and I could direct them to them. I knew if you had a house on 1000 Main Street, which programs were suited for that particular house. So as I could come list with you and say, Carlos, let's market this way because all of these programs fit that particular house. Easy. So down to the wire on let's focus. If that's my niche, then I'm going to know it from beginning to end. And that's why I tell people, if I meet you and I know more about your niche than you do, then something is off. You got to go back and study some more because I'm busy. And so I should never know more about your niche than you do.
Yeah.
And
that's just like when I started when we got our printing company, the printing is everything. There's all kinds of printing, but guess what I did? I started out selling business cards and that's it. I didn't do flyers. We did the little flyers, but I didn't do flyers. I didn't do brochures. I didn't do anything. I did business cards. I went out and I tried to get as many business cards and I learned everything about business cards that I possibly could. And that was just one thing of, look at all you can print.
Right.
You know what I mean? I went out there and I just sold business cards. And then once I figured out how the business cards work and what they could do for you and how they work and how everything works with that. And I also figured out that business cards doesn't always pay all the bills. You know what I mean? I figured out I don't make enough money doing business cards, but I figured it out first. That's where I started. I'm like, I talked to my wife and I did it. And I'm like, God, what do we do? We got this, and this. And I'm like, I'm just going to go out. And we just started pounding business cards. And I learned everything about it. I learned the benefits of it. I learned how to cut costs to where, there's a lot of people out there right now that don't realize that they pay for business cards on two sides. They pay each side. They get, I got a front business cards and, it's this much money. And then I would have to pay extra for the back. No, I made it to where it's like front and back. It doesn't matter. If you print front or back, it's the same cost for me. And I wanted to help and I learned everything about it, but then I moved on to the next thing, then I started learning more about other things and getting specialized in other things. It took us 2-3 years before I even added wide format printing.
Bingo.
You know, signs and banners.
Carlos, that's what I tell people. Any business that you're working, 2 years minimum. 2 years minimum. If you're not going to spend that 2 years in that business before you go on to something else, don't even start it.
Right.
It's 2 years. And the people are like, 2 years, well, I can do it in 6 months, whatever. No, you can't. You know, it's 2 years for you to know what you need to know what's going on and what's happening. So, for example, if you're talking business cards, I'm like, shoot, I'm stuck on, do I get 60-pound paper or 20-pound paper, or do round edges, square edges, and on and on and on. Electronic business cards, and you could be in that space learning just about business cards. And so when I look at people who are in real estate and they're like, oh, I'm not getting the results I'm like, you have yet to slow down long enough and focus on what's happening in the industry and with your client. You don't even know who your client is. So you're talking to, you're throwing a wide net into the Facebook universe or to social media universe, and you're not going to catch, the good fish because you're too wide. Instead of narrowing down and saying, I need this kind of worm, I need this kind of, hook, I need this kind of fishing pole, or any of those kinds of things. And people just don't want to do that. And that's why for me, when folks come on my team, I'm just kind of like, okay, when you get your business niche focused, then we can have some off the chain growth because we know now how to focus.
I love it. And that is God, I wish so many people would listen to this, because I see so many people that just don't understand that. Mm-hmm. They don't understand that you just have to figure out where you want to be. That's like, it's an important part of your business. And like I said, you got to break that business down. You might do one thing, but you got to figure out what one thing you can specialize in your business.
Right.
And
then from there, make sure it's a business and not a job that you just created. So you can't step away from it, then you've kind of created yourself a job. And so that's one of the things that I've been giving away is the blueprint, a checklist, so that people who are business owners can see, do I have my LLC? Do I have all of these particular things to be a business? Because they're not taught that, especially in real estate. They're taught, go get a license and then you can sell. But they haven't went to a business class. So they don't know about LLCs. They don't know about EIN numbers. They don't know about having their own lines of credit. They don't know about, and I say things to people. I said, did you do a feasibility study on your business before you started it? And they're like, well, what's that? I said, no, you didn't. You just did it. So you skipped that part because whoever the company was told you it was feasible for you to be in business. And that's why 50% of the agents, don't sell any real estate in a year. But, neither here nor there. Going back to have, to get people to say, hey, we need to fill in some of the foundation stuff that we might have skipped when we jumped out. We jumped out here, we started selling, we sold some properties. I'm in business and I'm going, okay, so something happens. Can you go over here and get a line of credit for your business? Is your business able to buy real estate? Is, all of those things, let's get the foundation in order. And
it's so funny you say that. I had a client the other day that was looking at a building and I showed it to him and I said, so do you have, what's your business name? And they're like, well, we don't have one. And I'm like, oh, you don't have an LLC or a company entity set up? And they're like, no. You don't know what you're calling this business? No. I said, do you know what you're doing in this building? And they're like, well, yeah, a restaurant. Do you know what kind of restaurant you're doing? And then he said, seafood, a little Mexican, and some burgers.
All of that, huh?
It's a variety.
What's funny is that you're talking about food. It just made me think about last year, Doc. One of the topics you brought up in the blueprint was, hey, there's a lot of opportunities here in this market, right? And it wasn't just about real estate, right? You talked about they need food here. They need restaurants. There's a lack of food options here in Panama City Beach. And that's what that made me think of when Carlos just said that is, again, where else would you walk into a convention or a conference and that be presented to you, right? Most of the times, if you're a real estate agent in real estate, it's all real estate centric. But that's just some of the things and the ideas and the creative thought that you put into that Teach at the Beach conference, where it's outside the box.
That's right.
Not just real estate centric.
Yeah, because everything, even though I know everything is a business, and if you set your businesses up correctly, you'll always be in position to sell them at any time, which is, where people need to be. But when you see that there are opportunities in other markets based on something you do or looking at something a family member does. And one of those things is, I've always just kept saying, there are restaurants here for sale for $50,000, Steve. I don't know if you've seen that one Daniel had, a full restaurant across the street from the beach for $50,000. And I kept saying to people, opportunity right here, because even if you're in real estate, you can own the real estate and lease the restaurant. Or if it's a restaurant business, now you have an opportunity to own your building, So
does that restaurant have a drive-through?
I don't remember now if it does. There's so many things, like there are so many opportunities that come up, but people don't always see them, in the eyes that somebody else may see them. So because I'm always thinking and seeing stuff, that I always just try to bring that to the forefront, because I think so many times we get just stuck in a box. So most agents, if they're coming in on their Tuesday sales meeting, they're always talking about the same kinds of things. And so there's, no one's taking the lid off. So that's what I've been doing. Like, let's take the lid off the box, guys, and let's look a little further down the road. And while you're doing your day-to-day, make sure that, you're building your own personal and family wealth at the same time. That's most important, because most people do not know how much they even need to retire. So how can you really have a plan in place? You're right now just existing if you don't know what your retirement number is.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Right. You're absolutely right about that.
And I know for sure that you can build it and do whatever you want to do just through real estate, let alone what you do in the stock market and that kind of stuff. You can do all of it in real estate. And if you have other assets, then great. But we're just from the space of I show you how to have $5 million in 15 years in real estate or 10 years. I can't really do that for you in the stock market.
That's right.
That's
You're
somebody else.
right.
That's not me. So I just stay with, here's what I know over here.
Well, Doc, we have been blessed to have your presence this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your mentorship, your leadership, and just your overall, giving. There are so many people that have benefited, continually benefit from your willingness to share your knowledge, whether it's the classes at NAR or your conventions or people on your team or just people who reach out to you. I've sent people to you and you've spoken to them as well. And you ain't cheap. You ain't cheap. All this knowledge you shared in this last 30 or 40 minutes, hey, that's expensive, you guys. This is expensive knowledge.
It's expensive. But I tell folks, if you catch me and I'm in a space where I can do it, then go ahead and get me. I actually was about to leave here. We're in Tampa, and we're about to leave now. And so when you were like, come on, I'm like, oh, I do my hair. I'm not you see me moving around. That's just in the towel from me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna tell Steve, don't send those folks when I'm dressed and ready to go. And let me invoice you.
I fully expect to get one, but I appreciate you taking the time.
That's all right, because I already know this is my legacy. So the more I share and the seeds I plant, whether it's one-on-one or in group, other people will take those and grow those. I'm not always going to be here. And so I tell folks, what I'm giving to you, you're giving to someone else. And that's a part of my legacy. You won't have anybody say, I knew Dr. Bryant and she ain't teach me anything.
Right.
You're right.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And I can attest to that. I will testify to that because I'm just one small person that can certainly testify. But I appreciate you taking the time. Be safe on your travels. Look forward to chatting with you more, continuing to grow and learn. You've got boot camps. You've got a number of different things. If you don't know Dr. Tameka Bryant, and if you're in the real estate business, you should definitely know Dr. Tameka Bryant. The Real Estate House, Be Niched, Teach at the Beach. There's a number. She's an author. There's a number of things that she has on her resume. But if you don't know Dr. Tameka Bryant and you're in real estate or anything to do with real estate or business in general, you should find Dr. Tameka Bryant on Facebook. You can find her on any of the platforms, but definitely find her. So thank you, Dr. Bryant. Appreciate you.
Carlos. Nice
Thank you. I
All right, guys.
appreciate it.
We're out. Have a good weekend. See ya.
You too.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. All right, Carlos, I'm out. I'm going to sign off. I got to hop on another one.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks.